Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it.
Our objective calculates the standard deviation of group data. Standard deviation of group data using the midpoint method. Step number 1. Prepare the frequency distribution table. We have our frequency distribution table. We can proceed to step number 2. Step number 2. Get the midpoint x of the class interval or the class mark. So this is x, this is the midpoint. What is the midpoint of 35 to 39? 35 plus 39 divided by 2 is 37. Since the interval is 5, we need only to subtract 5. 37 minus 5 is 32. 32 minus 5 is 27. 27 minus 5 is 22. And 22 minus 5 is 17. Step number 3. Multiply f and x to get fx. This is f. This one is x. We need to multiply f and x. So 2 times 37 is 74. 5 times 32 is 160. 16 times 27 is 432. 5 times 22 is 110. 2 times 17 is 34. Step number 4. Find summation of fx and the mean. How do we find summation of fx? We need to add 74 plus 160 plus 432 plus 110 plus 34, and the sum is summation of fx. Summation of fx is 810. We need to find the mean. What is the formula in finding the mean? Summation of fx over f. What is summation of fx? 810. What is n? 30. So we have 810 divided by 30. Our mean is 27. So the mean is 27. Step number 5. Calculate the deviation represented by the absolute value of d by subtracting the mean from the midpoint x. So our midpoint is 37 and our mean is 27. We need to subtract 37 minus 27. No negative result. We have 10. 32 minus 27. We have 5. 27 minus 27, 0. 22 minus 27, 5. 17 minus 27, the answer is 10. Step number 6. Square the deviation d of each interval to get d squared. So this is our d. We need to square d. 10 times 10 is 100. 5 times 5 is 25. 0 times 0 is 0. 5 times 5, 25. And 10 times 10 is 100. Step number 7. Multiply f, the frequency, and d squared to get fd squared and find summation of fd squared. This is f. This is d squared. We need to multiply f and d squared. That is fd squared. 2 times 100 is 200. 5 times 25 is 125. 16 times 0 is 0. 5 times 25 is 125, and 2 times 100 is 200. Then we need to find summation of FD squared, that is 200 plus 125 plus 0 plus 125 plus 200. We have the summation of FD squared equals 650. Step number 8, calculate the standard deviation. So we have our formula, summation of FD squared over n. Summation of FD squared is 650 and n is 30. So we will divide 650 divided by 30. That is 21 and 666 thousandths. Then we extract the square root. So and round the result to the nearest hundreds. The answer is 4 and 65 hundredths. How do we find the standard deviation of group data using midpoint method? In finding the standard deviation using midpoint method, we apply the steps, step 1 to step number 8. We will have a practice. Find the standard deviation using the midpoint method. I am giving you 3 minutes to answer the problem. Kindly check your answer. Summation of fx is 1040. Our mean is 20 and 8 tenths. For summation of FD square, summation of FD square is 828. Then we will try to solve the standard deviation using the formula. Kindly check your solution. We have our formula. We substitute the given in the formula. Summation of FD square is 828 and our n is 50. We divide 828 divided by 50. The answer is 16 and 56 hundredths. Then we extract the square root of 16 and 56 hundredths. The result is 4 and 7 hundredths. Standard deviation of group data using deviation method. Finding the standard deviation of group data using deviation method. So we will now find the standard deviation of group data using deviation method. First, we will find D. So we'll start at the bottom. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we will find the product of F and D. F times D is FD. 2 times 4 is 8. 5 times 3 is 15. 16 times 2 is 32. 5 times 1 is 5. 2 times 0 is 0. Then we'll find summation of FD. That is 8 plus 15 plus 32 plus 5 plus 0. So summation of FD is 60. Now we will find FD squared. How do we find FD squared? That is D times FD. That is FD squared. 4 times 8 is 32. 3 times 15 is 45. 2 times 32 is 64. 1 times 5 is 5. 0 times 0 is 0. Then we will find summation of FD squared. That is 32 plus 45 plus 64 plus 5 plus 0. So we have summation of FD squared equals 146. The formula in finding the standard deviation is I times the square root of summation of FD squared over n minus the summation of FD over n squared. What is our I? Our I is 5. How about the summation of FD squared? The summation of FD squared is 146. What is our n? Our n is 30. Summation of FD is 60. Again, our n is 30. First, we divide 146 divided by 30. And we also divide 60 divided by 30. What is our result? So 146 divided by 30 is 4 and 87 hundredths. 60 divided by 30 is 2. And 2 squared is 4. So 4 and 87 hundredths minus 4, which is equal to 0 and 87 hundredths. We will extract the square root of 0 and 87 hundredths. It is equal to 0 and 93 hundredths to be multiplied by 5. So our answer is 4 and 65 hundredths. Calculates the standard deviation of group data using the deviation method. We are now ready to calculate the standard deviation of group data using deviation method. First, we will find the deviation. So we'll start at the bottom. We have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then after that, we will multiply F and D. F times D is FD. 5 times 5 is 25. 7 times 4 is 28. 14 times 3 is 42. 16 times 2 is 32. 3 times 1 is 3. 5 times 0 is 0. Now, we will find summation of FD. How do we find summation of FD? 25 plus 28 plus 42 plus 32 plus 3 plus 0. So, that is summation of FD. Summation of FD is 130. So, we have FD squared. How do we find FD squared? D times FD is FD squared. 5 times 25 is 125. 4 times 28 is 112. 3 times 42 is 126. 2 times 32 is 64. 1 times 3 is 3. And 0 times 0 is 0. Then, we will find summation of FD squared. So, we'll find the sum of the following. 125 plus 112 plus 126 plus 64 plus 3 plus 0, and that is summation of FD squared. What is our answer? Our answer is 430. So we have the formula. We substitute the given in the formula. First, we divide 430 divided by 50. The answer is 8 6/10. Then we divide 130 divided by 50. That is 2 6/10. Then we apply PEMDAS. We'll find the value of the number with exponent. So 2 6/10 square is 6 76/100. Then we will use subtraction. The answer is 1 84/100. Then we will extract the square root of 1 84/100. The answer is 1 3,564 10,000s to be multiplied by 3. So the final answer is 4 07/100. How do we find the standard deviation of group data using deviation method? In finding the standard deviation of group data using deviation method, first we need to find D. Then after finding D, we need to find FD. Then after finding FD, we need to find summation of FD. Then we will find FD squared. Then after finding FD squared, we need to find the summation of FD squared, and we apply the result in our formula. Based on the example that we have solved, if we try to solve the problem using the midpoint method and we solve it using deviation method, do we arrive at the same result? Yes, we arrive at the same result. So even if we use the midpoint or we use the deviation method, we will arrive at the same result. For our second example, we use the midpoint and the deviation method, and we arrive at the same result. Practice. Find the standard deviation of the given using deviation method. I am giving you 3 minutes to answer the problem. find the SD. So look at our solution. First, we find the deviation. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then we will find FD. How do we find FD? That is the product of F and D. 2 times 5 is 10. 6 times 4 is 24. 12 times 3 is 36. 18 times 2 is 36. 8 times 1 is 8. And 4 times 0 is 0. Then we will find the sum of 10 plus 24 plus 36 plus 36 plus 8 plus 0. So summation of FD is 114. Then we will find FD squared. How do we find FD squared? That is D times FD is FD squared. 5 times 10 is 50. 4 times 24 is 96. 3 times 36 is 108. 2 times 36 is 72. 1 times 8 is 8. 0 times 0 is 0. Then we'll find summation of FD squared. That is equal to 334. And our standard deviation is 6 and 9 hundredths. For the solution, first we write the formula. We substitute the given in the formula. First, we divide 334 by 50, that is 6 and 68 hundredths. 114 by 50, that is 2 and 28 hundredths. Then after that, we square 2 and 28 hundredths. The result is 5 and 1,984 ten thousandths. Then we subtract. The answer is 1 and 4,816 ten thousandths. Then after that, we extract the square root. The square root of 1 and 4,816 ten thousandths is 1 and 217 thousandths. Then we multiply. The result is 6 and 85 thousandths. Then after that, we round it to the nearest hundredths. The answer is 6 and 09 hundredths. Thank you for watching.